Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back from the OPTC video, and in today's video, we're diving into Grand Voyage vs. Luffy over at Orangetown for the final installment of the Grand Voyage tier list for the original batch that did come out. And for this particular Grand Voyage, you need to bring a Mono Int, Mono Driven, and a Buggy on the team to get level 5 done. On top of that, your team needs to be below 240 costs. And this was the bring back of cost restrictive content, which made it very, very interesting for this particular event. And this was one of the easier ones that did come out alongside like Alvida's Hideout when we got the original batch of Grand Voyage. However, just be mindful if you are a newer player, this is very endgame content. We're putting all of the legends that are both driven and int onto a tier list today, considering their max level. Max 150, level limit break, 6+, all that fun stuff. So just be mindful if you guys don't have some of these characters and you're still building your account. Don't be discouraged, but hopefully this particular tier list will give you guys a bit of an idea of what to prioritize when you are looking at taking down level 5 over at Grand Voyage against Luffy at Orangetown. Now, the cost restriction means that you need to build your team a little bit wiser, and stuff like 6+s are going to take up a little bit more cost on the team. So I have included a couple of like rare recruits and free-to-play options and some other characters that I tend to use that work very well. But if you guys want to check out some teams, I'll leave a link in the description to my Grand Voyage playlist. Make sure to go check them out, and you can hopefully find something that works for you guys over there, or give you an idea of how the content actually rocks. So if you enjoyed the video, belt the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff. With that said, let's dive into Grand Voyage vs. Luffy and a tier list of the legends and free-to-play characters. Alright, so here we are over on Tier List Maker. I put together a bunch of tiers, basically the best to like the best of the best characters to actually bring. Remember, you need to bring a buggy character, so buggies are stereotypically going to rate a little bit higher on this tier list. But remember, you need to be below 240 cost. Now, if you guys have the level limit break of V1 6+ buggy, like that's the character they want you to bring. And obviously he's built around class restrictions, but that doesn't mean he's going to be the best character to actually bring. Next, we have Elite. These are sort of just like the next tier underneath the best. Great options are great characters that you can bring. Can use, I wouldn't prioritize these units, but like people have used them and they do work. And then Don't Bother is just characters that I would not even touch. So, looking at Don't Bother, like Judge is just a straight up character I wouldn't use. Wouldn't worry about this Zoro, and I wouldn't worry about this particular Dofi. Honestly, this Fuji's not great either. Same with Fire Tank Pirates. Like, I think you can use them, to be honest, but like I just wouldn't. That's the same Zoro. Looking down here at some of these other legends, honestly, Killer can work. Like, he can work. Apu, I definitely wouldn't use. And then, honestly, like Black Maria and Ulti are a character I probably wouldn't use either. Looking at characters that you can use, you do have S-Hawk. I feel like a lot of people don't have S-Hawk, and he's a PvP legend, so like I wouldn't worry about him too much. Now remember, 6+s, like these characters are at 65 cost. So, like, it does restrict your team building drastically when you are using them. But there is a character right here that I'm going to talk about, and definitely helps out when you are doing stuff like that. Other characters you can use. I don't know why I included both these buggies on the tier list, but, like, I mean, actually, that's a pretty good shout, actually. I'll touch base on that. Characters you can use are, like, these characters here. Alba actually makes it friggin' easy. We'll keep Alba off. Jack you can use. Page 1 you can use. On the final stage there is a chain coefficient reduction. So like chain boundary units are pretty good. This page 1 I wanted to include him because he's a free-to-play character that is 40 cost. And a character that people would actually use in the early days. Not one that I would probably target now. But yeah, I'm going to put him up in great option, just because like he's that free-to-play character. He's just basically a free-to-play version of this Jack, though. So, Big Mom, you can use Big Mom. Lots of people did use Big Mom initially. You can use the Buggy's Delivery Pirates. You can use the Buggy Dual Unit. That's another really good option as well. And honestly, like this Buggy you can use too. Now, the big gimmick with this content is you can't use orb buffs throughout the entire run. And the idea of Buggy is he gives you a 20-turn orb boost at the start of the fight. So that way you can actually just continuously keep an orb buff moving forward. You can use this Blackbeard if you want to, but not a lot of people would prioritize leveling him up. Great options are Queen. Queen's just fantastic because you have like super tandem options with this Alba and stuff like that. This Killer, look, he's a great option just because like this kid is so good. V1, Yamato, another great option. Again, remember on the final stage there's a chain coefficient reduction, so having a chain boost or a chain boundary unit is going to be very, very nice. As for anything else that sort of happens on the quest, there's not too much. The big thing was damage limiter, and there's a very good character that I'll talk about to get around that. This Buggy is a great option. He can do a special one. You get special one on the left-hand column on the final stage. There's also damage limiter on turn 4. You can bring this particular variation of Buggy as well. The 4-star is actually a much lower cost than what this Buggy is, plus you're still satisfying that Buggy requirement. For myself, the best Buggy to bring is this one right here, because he's only 20 cost. This particular Buggy being 20 cost opens the door to using a lot of other 6+ characters, and the lower your cost of other units means that you can keep under that 240 cost. If you just put together a team of all legends, it doesn't include supports, however it does include the friend captain. If you put together a full team of legends, you're looking at 330 cost. So unfortunately you can't just throw a full legend team together to get this content done. You are going to have to restrict at least 2 of your spots to some free-to-play characters, to some lower-cost characters, and stuff like that. And hell, if you start bringing 6+ characters, you're looking at 65 cost. But one character that is absolutely elite for this, that is a rare recruit, is this Perona. This Perona can remove Threshold, and she sets defense low, and she has damage reduction for 2 turns. She's perfect for stage 4. Plus, if you throw the Zoro support on her to give yourself a chain lock, you can get around the attack down below a certain chain coefficient. There's a damage limiter there too, which is very, very annoying. But as a 20 cost unit, I believe she is, she's fantastic. Or she might be 30 cost, actually. She's a 30 cost. So this is the Buggy I tend to bring. There's an Alvita support that you can pick up in the coin shop. However, if you guys don't want to pick up that Alvita, you could always do stuff with the level 4, the 4-star version of Halloween Buggy, so he's another really good option. Remember, keeping your cost low is the name of the game, because you do want to bring some of these characters that I'll talk about once we hit the best tier. As for other great options, Moria is a pretty good option. He can give you the carryover color affinity buff. This Katakuri is elite. He was one of the first characters to do it, because you can apply the delay mechanic, and plus he's a 2-turn attack booster, I believe, and then you get a conditional with his super type. But he's fantastic for this content, because again, if you do a certain amount of damage, you can then delay the enemy, and then you just had that extra turn to take them down. However, there is resilience if you do take more than 1 turn, so you do want to bring someone that can do end-turn damage, and there weren't too many characters that could actually do that because of stuff like, there's like a free-to-play Kaido and whatnot too. Other great options you have are Kaido. Versus Kaido, if you run with these particular units, are pretty good. This particular Big Mom, she's actually very, very good. She applies the paralysis and the burn mechanic, which is great for getting around that resilience, as I spoke about. Plus, she's a conditional boost as well. She does 3-turn buffs. The downside to the unit is she has so high cooldowns, but on Grand Voyage, she's just a monster, because you just get all of your cooldowns, which is just fantastic. As for that cost restriction, as I spoke about, this Galette is phenomenal. Now, the reason that she's so good is because she does a color affinity boost for 2 turns for driven characters, but you can use the support of Law to give yourself an orb boost. Once you do that, because she rotates orbs as well, once you do that, you can actually just pop other characters' specials that do orb boost without having to worry about the interrupt. But the real beauty of this unit is she's a 1-cost character. 1 cost. There's like a free-to-play Zoro as well that's also very, very good, but I use this Galette religiously when I run this content. 1 cost means that you've just opened the door to so many other units that you can bring. And talking about some of the higher-end units that are 6+, you're going to want to try and find a way to bring them. So that's a massive reason why Galette is an elite character. Another really good option is this Blackbeard. He's very good, but he's sort of towards the back end. If you're building more sort of driven powerhouse teams, like driven powerhouse sort of dominate this sort of top section, you can do some fun stuff with him. Downside to him is trying to get his super tandem is so difficult, because you don't really have the restrictions of the Blackbeard Pirates. But moving on to the best of the best now. These 4 characters are sort of the best. Kid Law are just so good. They give you 2 turns of an attack boost. You can easily get their super swap ready to go using other characters' specials. They're so fantastic for this quest. The availability of them is probably their biggest problem. And the downside to the actual unit is that if you're bringing a kid, most of the time I would just bring this particular kid. Slap Heat and Wire on the team, and then you're off to the races. And you can basically get the Super Tandem with this unit, and then it's free after that. Kid gives you chain shenanigans. He gives you 2 turns of an orb buff if you already have an attack boost. But remember, you can't really use orb buffs, so he's pretty much going to be your attack booster no matter what. But he's pretty much the best Super Tandem character that you can actually bring for this particular quest. As for the 2 best characters that I always bring, we have Tot Musica and Blackbeard 6+. Now remember, I was saying this is a 240 cost event. So if you bring both Blackbeard and Tot Musica, you're already sitting at 130 cost. That only leaves you with 110 to play with. So it does drastically hinder the rest of your team and what you want to bring. Only having the 110 cost means that if you bring 2 legends on the team after that, you're then restricted to no other units. So you can only really bring 1 other legend on the team if you are running these 2. However, I always find that if I run these 2, you just bring Perona on the team, you slap on one of these really low-cost buggies, that's only 40 costs. You're then looking at a 1-cost Skeleton over here, and that way you can bring one of these other really, really good legends as well. So, Blackbeard's so fantastic because he's super type. He's so easy to get as he's 6+. His super type will remove 1 turn of any buff the enemy has, any defensive buff. So the damage limiter just gets completely removed. You don't have to worry about it. Blackbeard can give you an attack boost and an orb boost, but remember, you can't use orb boosts along the way. So that's why using something like Galette is so good, because you can get that lore support to trigger. But Top Music is even better, because Top Music gives you the music note buff, which is an orb boost and a color affinity buff. Now, normally that would trigger an interrupt, right? But the way Top Musica works is you don't actually apply an orb buff. You apply a turn progressional buff that is an orb buff. So it doesn't trigger that interrupt, which makes her one of the most valuable units to this team, because then you don't even have to look at running this particular buggy. Like, you don't even have to worry about it at all. It's actually crazy. And honestly, most of the teams that first got this done didn't actually use buggy. They used something like Katakuri. They used the 6-star Blackbeard. Like, it was just absolutely free. But since then, we've had so many good int-driven characters, and hopefully you guys prioritizing some of these units, as you see at the top here, will actually help you guys out. Now, running a friend Captain Blackbeard is like super easy. Definitely something that you want to do. You can hybrid him up with something like Kid, and then you can bring some other characters supports. But if you have this buggy as a, what's it called? If you have this buggy at level limit break, he's probably going to be one of your better options. But nowadays, like I said, there's just so many other buggies that I would bring over the top of him because of said power creep and whatnot too. Honestly, this Alva is probably up here, and you're probably down here. You're probably up here too. So, that's going to wrap up the video. That's the tier list for Grand Voyage against Luffy over at Orange Town. Hopefully it helps you guys out. If it does, make sure to belt the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff. Most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. Remember that down below in the description will be a Grand Voyage tier list if you guys want to check out any teams to get this done. And if you do complete it, let me know in the comment section below. With that said, thank you all out for watching. I'll catch you all in the next one.